Look around you for a second. If you're young, ambitious, and just kind of tired of the lies you've been fed about money, I really want you to listen closely. Because here is the harsh, unspoken truth that our source material dives into. Society basically wants you to accept a completely normal life. Average pay, maybe one vacation a year if you are incredibly lucky. And if you dare to want more, well, the system shames you. It calls you greedy. But the true greed actually lies in a system designed to keep you at the bottom while the elite just enjoy unrestricted freedom. So today, in this explainer, we are tearing down that system. We're going to explore the 5 definitive stages to building real, enduring wealth while you actually still have the time to enjoy it. There's this quote, "If you aren't building your own dream, then someone else will hire you to build theirs." Wow, right? That is the absolute devastating reality of stage 1, the trap of drifting. So many people just float along, letting life happen to them. And when you drift, you end up getting violently overwhelmed by the noise of the modern world. I mean, you hear it literally every single day. The fastest way to get rich? Oh, it's gotta be drop shipping, right? Wait, actually, no. Is it crypto? Should we all be out here buying the dip? Or what about day trading? Okay, let's just stop right there because honestly, this massive overload of choices, it just leaves you completely frozen, paralyzed by the fear of making the wrong move. But here's the dark twist. When you don't pick a path because you're too scared, the system picks it for you. And trust me, the system will always choose to keep you broke. And that freeze is the exact essence of drifting. It's floating from one completely unfulfilling job to the next, just kind of hoping that one day you'll magically strike it big. So let me ask you directly, are you drifting? Because nobody wakes up in the morning, looks in the mirror and thinks, gee, how can I make my boss, Ginny, incredibly rich today? The only person who will ever put your success first is you. See, society loves to feed us this comforting little lie to keep us compliant. Money doesn't make you happy. We've all heard it, haven't we? But it is a total fairy tale that the rich have fed the poor for decades. The cold, hard truth, money equals freedom. And freedom equals happiness. Mark my words here, a drifter will never, ever build wealth on their own merit. Sure, they might win the lottery, but they will never build an empire. So how do you actually escape? Well, you escape through an awakening. Welcome to stage 2, obsession. You can literally change your life in a single moment with one unapologetic decision to just stop being pushed around. If the idea of obsessing over wealth makes you cringe, you might need to rewire your psychology a bit. There is absolutely no shame in wanting freedom. But wealth requires a singular focus. A lot of young people aren't actually ambitious. They're kind of just arrogant. They want to get rich, sure, but they also want to be a pro athlete, travel the whole world, and learn Japanese all at the exact same time. You've got to strip away that arrogance and lock in on one single goal. But look, obsession is really just the fuel. You still need an engine. And the inescapable rule of the market is simply this. You get paid an exact proportion to the value you provide. If you aren't rich yet, it's honestly just because you currently lack value. But don't panic. You don't have to go and invent the next massive tech giant to become highly valuable. Which brings us nicely to the strategic phase of our explainer. Stage 3, discovery. This is where you find your blueprint. For example, our source points out that when he was in his 20s, he didn't just blindly open a business and hope for the best. No, he got a Saturday job at a local hobby shop. He basically became a sponge. He asked a ton of questions, discovered what customers actually wanted, and figured out exactly what was holding that business back. He uncovered a proven pathway. And honestly, this is the ultimate cheat code. It's almost like planning a movie heist. Step 1, you find a mentor based on their actual verifiable skills, not their Instagram fame, okay? Step 2, you discover their exact proven pathway. And step 3, you copy the blueprint. By doing this, you completely bypass that grueling trial and error phase. You are literally hacking their years of mistakes to accelerate your own success. Your targets for this are everywhere. We're talking video editing, drop shipping, deal negotiating, short-form content creation, or even just starting an eBay store. The specific vehicle you choose matters way less than your execution. Just pick one of these viable pathways right now and close the skill gap between where you are and where the experts are. Pick your weapon. So, once your weapon is chosen, you enter the real grind. Stage 4, acceleration. This is where you have to get in the reps. Do free work if you have to. Launch a completely terrible first storefront. The secret sauce to acceleration is accepting that you have to be willing to absolutely suck it at first. And even more importantly, you need ruthless, constructive criticism from outside your little protective bubble. There's an old saying, if you do what you've always done, well, you'll get what you've always got. You simply cannot rely on your friends and family for feedback here. They are the absolute worst people to ask. They're going to spare your feelings, and frankly, they lack the high-level experience to tell you when you are steering your ship right off a cliff. And that realization usually brings you to the absolute most brutal part of this entire journey, the lonely chapter. You start feeling fundamentally disconnected from your childhood friends because, well, they just no longer share your fiery ambitions, yet you aren't quite successful enough to sit at the table with the titans you look up to. You're trapped in this strange, isolating middle ground. Our source actually shares a story about his own son who decided to skip university entirely to build a videography business. For years, he just grinded away on his own, losing contact with old friends, putting in the reps in total silence. And guys, this is where most people break. This is where most people surrender and just go back to the system. But if you manage to outlast the lonely chapter, you make the most profound realization of your entire life. You are the asset. Not stocks, not crypto, you. The skills you forge in the dark during that lonely chapter, they're going to compound over a lifetime, exactly like money does. And that compounding effect leads directly to the ultimate payoff. Stage 5, freedom. We're talking true, undeniable escape from the system. Buying whatever you want, working from a laptop on a beach halfway across the globe, and never, ever answering to a boss again. There is literally no greater feeling than realizing you have finally won. But hold on, the journey isn't quite over yet, because there is a very dangerous trap waiting right at the finish line. See, being rich and being wealthy are two vastly different things. When the money actually starts rolling in, you face a huge choice. You can spend it all on flashy cars and designer clothes just to impress people, or you can reinvest it to build lasting compounding power. Wealthy people look at young millionaires blowing their cash and they aren't impressed. They're disappointed. And this is the tragic mistake the majority of people make right as they cross that finish line. They will happily go and drop $1,000 on the newest smartphone just to look the part, but they completely refuse to reinvest a mere $200 into their own compounding skills. Poor people spend money to impress other poor people. Wealthy people, they reinvest in themselves. Which kind of leaves us with one haunting, incredibly confrontational reality as we wrap up. Whatever you spend today on meaningless status symbols, you are quite literally taking from your future self. You are robbing the very life you were trying to build. So, I have to ask you,